A few years ago, my friend Taylor hated his 9 to 5 job, so he started selling products on Amazon. He's since been able to quit his job and now travels the world full time, living the life of his dreams through his 7-figure Amazon wholesale business. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how he did it and how you can build the life of your dreams through making money online. Taylor Jones, the man himself, welcome to the channel.
Thank you, Miles. Always a pleasure hanging out with you, brother.
Oh, of course. We've come a long way since I was watching your retail arbitrage videos back in 2020 and such. But overall, just to give the viewers some context, do you mind taking us back to the beginning? How did you learn about selling Amazon, and ultimately why and how did you get into it?
Yeah, man. I mean, I was back in what? It was probably 2018, 2019. I was like a little, free roaming hippie, and I realized how poor I was. And I started following Grant Cardone, and he always talks about what vehicle you're in. And at the time, once I understood that concept, I was looking at my job and I was like, this is not the vehicle that's going to let me go to six figures. So that's when I found out a little bit about reselling. And then once I realized you could do it on Amazon at scale, and at first I thought you had to do it, in the store, but I knew I could go to six-figure income selling on Amazon. And that's what really lured me into it. Like, it just made sense. Like, you go to Walmart, you find 20, 30 things, you put them in a box, you buy them on clearance, and you send them off to Amazon, you make $5 on each one. Like, it just made so much sense to me.
Yeah, and I remember following you in the early days. You were traveling all over the place doing retail arbitrage. Obviously, that's much different than what you're doing these days with wholesale. Still doing a bunch of travel, but not going into stores. But talk about those retail arbitrage road trips that you're famous for.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, once I clicked in my brain that I could make six figures, um, I started selling on Amazon in January of 2020. So it was right before the pandemic, and I knew that all I had to do was find, like, in order to replace the income at my job, all I had to do was find $180 of profit per day, which is not that complicated. So I would wake up in the morning, I'd do my little routine, go to the gym, and then I would be in the store all day. And I, once I had a bunch of items, I realized that it was actually, I got bored kind of going into my own hometown. So I kind of just would drive across the country. And I did that for probably the first 2 years, year and a half, before I really realized, okay, I don't have to go to the store anymore. But that was how I learned all of the basics about Amazon, was just going to those retail stores and just grinding.
Well, what's great about retail arbitrage is you can get the product in hand same day. You can also get so many reps if you're scanning with SellerAmp, right? Just reading a ton of products really fast. Like, dude, several products just in 1 minute. And the margin's typically a little bit higher with retail arbitrage because there's less competition. It's just the people that are in your area.
I also think it's way more of a hands-on interactive approach. Whereas, like, sitting behind a screen and looking at OA products, for someone that's never got into, like, it can be daunting. Like, what am I doing? It can be overwhelming.
Yeah, and I think with OA too, just from obviously you and I both having a ton of experience, typically the differentiating factor in something being good is like a relatively hard to find coupon code or a discount that might only be going on during a certain time, which once you get good is fantastic because that means there's a lack of competition on certain products. But with RA, it's kind of just like, all right, like, man, the Nike out's 20 minutes away. How often do you want to go? If you scan stuff, use that 15% new account coupon. You scan enough items, you start to build a muscle memory for, okay, those free runs right there, they're $60 right now. They're selling for 80 on Amazon. So if I come back in next week and they're $39.97, now that number works and that compounds too, right? It's literally just about putting the reps specifically with LA. And so how do you overall like get the confidence to go and travel though? Because a lot of people obviously are very nervous about like what their family's going to think with that, and even just what their family's going to think with selling on Amazon in general too.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very big self-confidence exercise for me. I mean, I started traveling actually before I even started selling on Amazon. The first solo trips I took were actually in 2018. I went to Hawaii, Peru, and Colombia, and that was before I started selling on Amazon. And I just went with like a few grand in savings, and I was bare bones in it, you know. And then it wasn't until I was about a year and a half, 2 years into my Amazon business that I started learning about OA and the fact that you can travel with it. Then I was like, oh, okay, I can buy some stuff online and have it sent to a prep center, and then go somewhere even cheaper. Instead of paying 2 grand for rent in the States, I can go, hang out with some people in Mexico or Central America and do some fun shit and then work only a few hours a day, it's not about how many hours you work with Amazon, it's how much you spend on profitable inventory. So I just got all of my time back, and then that allowed me to do the stuff that I want to do.
Yeah, it's an interesting equation, right? Because everyone's looking at you like, dude, like you're going to go do that for 40 years, right? But dude, just getting out there and taking action is such a good self-improvement vehicle. And
Yeah.
most people obviously don't start out traveling. Maybe they want to watching this video or whatever, but just going out and making money on your own is such a good self-improvement vehicle because you get to learn what you're capable of, right? It opens up your mind to new stuff that you wouldn't normally get. The same thing goes with like meeting other entrepreneurs online. We'll get into that and such. But okay, so you're doing retail arbitrage successfully for a while, traveling all over the place. I'm watching you and Avery on TikTok live and stuff back in the day. What does it look like to overall get into online arbitrage? Because that's a big shift from going into stores to ultimately starting to find products online. These days, I recommend people do both. But what did that personally look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, this is the point in your business where you should, you really need to start thinking about getting on social media, connecting with other people, posting on content. Like OA is the next step in terms of like, you're taking that risk. You have stuff moving around. Maybe you're using a prep center. It's a process that it doesn't happen overnight. It takes trial and error. One of the things Warner talks about, he says you can paper trade items, but I would say that to get into OA, like if you're already doing an RA business, let's say you're spending 20,000 a month, set aside 3 or 4 grand next month to buy on OA products, and do MF. Mitigate your risk to nothing. Do MF, and then if the item tanks, you can always return it. Hopefully that's not the plan every time. But then it's going to take you probably 1 to 2 months of really practicing before you really get the ropes, possibly even longer. It took me probably 3 to 5 months of making a lot of mistakes before I felt really confident with OA. And honestly, I haven't done OA in months, so I would probably be disastrous. I feel like if I were to attempt to do it right now. It's just all muscle though, and to grow the muscles, and same with OA, you need the reps.
Yeah, and obviously, hopefully, you don't have to do that super often. In terms of a lot of people recommend never having to do that, just based off of like potentially hurting yourself in terms of like order counts and stuff in the future and stuff. I totally agree with that. But in terms of OA, another thing you've done a really good job of, and I think we've done. I mean, me and you have bought leads together too. Is just overall like finding other people, making friends with them online and such. It makes the process a whole lot easier because you get to avoid a lot of mistakes. You get to find more loops, more opportunity, etc. So talk about putting yourself out there, the importance of just networking in the community and what you've gotten out of that.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned so much from other people. Like I remember just coming to the MSC last year, I was talking with Jimmy FBA, and he told me
Dope.
about Top Cash Back, like, and how much money he was. I didn't even hear of Top Cash Back. And then I mean, I've shared leads with Avery. Obviously, I've shared leads with so many other people in the community. Um, and you're just learning new strategies, things that you don't there's so much to the game. I don't know what the best analogy would be, but there's so many parts and pieces, like you said, coupon codes and cashback and all these things. And the best way to constantly be learning is to make connections with people in the space. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is coming to an event or posting content on social media and then DMing people, starting group chats and introducing yourself, and then giving value to people, and if you give and you help other people, they're going to be destined to help you back eventually.
And it's definitely an interesting mental reframe because, like, your whole life through school, you're taught ask for permission, ask to go to the bathroom, don't cheat on tests, don't work with other people and stuff. And then in the business world, it's a giant group project,
Yeah.
right? And so you got people getting into this, right, who they've been, for 10 years or for 20 years or whatever. They have so much programming, right, to never share, scarcity mindset, small town, right? Meanwhile, dude, the more I share, the more I get back every single year. The better my YouTube videos, the more tips I'm able to give away, and more goodwill just comes back and such. And literally what that looks like at the small scale, man, is literally what you and I were doing 2, 3, 4 years ago. It's literally just like, all right, here's what I did today. I went to the outlet, I found nothing, right? But then someone comments, yo, like, are you using that coupon code? Like, why not? And you're like, I had no idea about that coupon code. And now a couple items I scanned yesterday, or I would scan it tomorrow at the session, now they become good. Right. And that slowly just compounds. Right. And over time, you're building yourself into someone people want to be friends with. Right. And naturally, you just get more and more. And the cool thing is, The whole online community is free. And really all you just have to be able to do is just not be incredibly afraid of if like someone comments something mean or your high school friends comment, which is honestly what keeps basically 99% of people doing it.
Yeah.
Selfishly, that unfortunately or fortunately means all the opportunity flows up to the people that do, guys like us, and hopefully, other folks who are interested in putting that into play and such. So talk about what your current Amazon operation looks like. So I believe you're in Costa Rica right now, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, we're here. We're leaving in a couple days. But it's been a good month here. Right now, I transitioned to wholesale about a year ago, through a connection that I made in the community, helped me make that jump. And I probably have like, 3 suppliers that I mainly deal with.
So
And
really only just a few that are really good then.
I have 3 suppliers right now that I order
Yeah.
from. And I mean, this month I'm going to spend like 160,000. Um, and numbers are great. Everything's good, and it's a huge blessing. And what it looks like is I would say maybe 40% of the stuff that I'm buying is sent, and it ranges from month to month, but 40 to 60%, depending on the month, is being sent directly to Amazon, and the other.
Ooh, that's fire, man.
Yeah,
That's tough to do, but that's fire. So basically, wholesale is buying product in bulk. So rather than what you guys see me talk about with OA, it's what Taylor and I used to do. Now I do a little bit of wholesale. He does all wholesale. It's buying product bulk directly from the brand or from people that sell bulk product and such. And I didn't mean to cut you off a little
no,
bit,
you're
right?
good.
Because you spend heavy, obviously sending everything directly to Amazon or to a prep center. That's what allows you to live in Costa Rica. And where else have you traveled to?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, Peru and Colombia, Hawaii, some of my favorite spots. Yeah, Hawaii is a great spot. And then Belize, Guatemala, I've been. And then, yeah, I mean, a lot of the United States I've been to. I think outside of the United States, that's actually probably all of the countries that I've been to. I think I'm probably missing maybe one or two, but
And it's crazy how, bro, literally just unlocking one good skill and then parlaying the opportunity, the connections and
yeah.
such, it can, propel you to doing really neat stuff. And you're really young still too, right? You're 27,
Yeah,
28.
I'm 28. And that's a really good point, though, Miles. I want to expand on that for people because, like, this year I've worked significantly less hours than I've worked. Actually, I've worked probably 60% less hours in 2023 than I worked in 2020, 2021, and 2022. I was grinding. And the only reason that I was able to do that is because during those first 3 years, I was building up the resources. I was getting the credit. I was getting the capital. I was getting the skills. I was building the network and the connections. And once you have all those things, the connections, the capital, and the skills, you can leverage all three of those to just go. Now I'm spending $160,000. I'm spending less than an hour a day managing SKUs and pricing and conversations with my VA. And once you understand that concept, if you're an intelligent person and you understand that skills, capital, and your network will allow you to leverage things to your income to go 5, 10x, and you can work less if you want to. That is the motivation that got me through those early years.
Got it,
Was
right? You need those reasons.
suffering because it is hard. It's not easy. It's Miles, you do a really great job, I think, at putting everything out and making it as simple as possible for people. But the reality is, guys, I think it is important to know that depending on where you are too, like if you already have a business background, it might be easier, but there is a lot of difficult things. It's very simple, but it's not easy. It takes an incredible amount of courage, and self-confidence and ability to face your fears and take risk. But it's very simple. It's actually like one of the most simplest business models I know of.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, the cool thing is that you can see those challenges as a good thing because it means less competition, or as a bad thing, and that's a negative way to look at it and such. So, looking forward to the future. Just for the people that are watching this, they're selling printers like you used to be over the phone or whatever, right? Working at a big company, they don't like their job. What are tips you would tell your beginner self or the beginners that are getting started today that you think will make the biggest difference over the long term for Amazon seller success?
Yeah. What I would tell the people that are still at that job, that are, especially if you're young, like in your 20s, like, look at the vehicle that you're in, and don't be willing to examine the beliefs that you have about money. Because that was a big thing for me. Like I used to believe that people that have a lot of money good people, or people that or like I came from a very spiritual background, so I thought it was a good humbling thing to not make that much money. And then I realized how freaking stupid that is. So examine your limiting beliefs. Examine the vehicle that you're in right now. What's the cap? Is there a cap? Can you make six figures? Can you make $1 million? Like, what is that? And then third, I would say examine what lifestyle that you want to live. And if you don't know what that is, then be willing to get out there and experiment and try different things and be humble and live cheaply and try a bunch of different things. Go abroad for a few months, go volunteer, go try, some of the passions that you have, but don't be willing to face your fears and take the risk, because at the end of the day, like, money is energy. And I think that was the hardest part for me, is getting over the belief that money is this thing that you need to work so hard for. Like, when you have the skills and resources and the network, like, it just comes really naturally. And so if what I would tell my younger self is educate yourself, build the skills, and then go all in.
And then another thing you got coming up that I'm super excited for, I know you're super excited for, is the Miami Sellers Conference. So do you mind filling the people in on what Miami Sellers Conference is, when is it, and how they can take a look at that if they're interested in potentially attending?
Absolutely. Yeah, guys. So the Miami Sellers Conference is March 16th and 17th. It's a Saturday and Sunday 2-day event this year. And it's one of the greatest opportunities as an Amazon seller, or somebody who wants to start selling on Amazon, to learn from some of the best sellers that are in the space, to make connections and network with some huge Amazon sellers. And we also have a bunch of really, really awesome sponsors that are going to be there. And it's really just a great opportunity to have a 2 to 3 day experience that is absolutely moving and inspirational. That if you're on the edge of, I'm thinking about starting a business, or let's say that you're already an Amazon seller and you want to take your business to the next level, this is a perfect opportunity to jump in a hive of 200 people that just want to blow the roof off their businesses and leave feeling absolutely energized and with all of the freaking tools that you need to go scale and take your income 5x.
Yeah, and so I'm not affiliated with Miami Sellers Conference. I make no money from it, but you guys should really look into that, especially if you're in the South Florida area, as am I. It's MiamiSellersConference.com, right?
Yep, MiamiSellersConference.com.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing for me too back in the day. Like, because I went to the first Miami Sellers Conference, and it was seeing like ordinary people walking around that were doing 10x my sales, and be like, damn, that guy over there is doing 10x my sales. I can do it too. And then literally, I came home immediately, bang, 100K in 2 weeks. Yep. Life changed forever. Perception of money changed forever. Yeah. Right there. Cool. So super proud to know you, Taylor. Super impressed with everything you've done the past couple of years, and super excited to hang out IRL at our family reunion next month at MSC Team. Where can people follow you on social media as well?
Yes, right here at @TaylorJones_official. And all my links are there. If you guys have questions about the event or anything Amazon related, feel free to shoot me a DM.
Cool. So thanks for coming on, and make sure to follow my boy, and appreciate you guys watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, let me know down below. Make sure to subscribe for more. Check out my full free course right here, my full ungating tutorial right here. See you guys in the next one.